the second in my series of Ask Coach Brad. Hopefully we'll have more participation on this one. On our last get-together, we literally had one person decide they were ready to quit smoking. And hopefully I will be able to help that person do exactly that. One of my goals, obviously, for these sessions is to help everybody improve their lives, health-wise in general. Until we have some people online chatting, I'm going to go ahead and get the morning stretch going. Anybody that wants to join me on the morning stretch is more than welcome. Oh, all right, here we go. Get ready with a... Just so they know, I'm here. Look, I will check often up here and see if we have anybody who's looking to chat this morning. For me, I will be happy if I can help anybody with any health issues. Somebody wants to quit smoking, lose weight, get in shape. Doesn't matter how old you are. And the objective is to do it. Get off your tushy and actually do it. Here. We're going to try this first. Maybe somebody can sound check me once. Here we go. Plug you in good. Yes. Can't be having any loose connections. All right. That should be working nicely. Hopefully people can hear me. See if we can turn you a touch. Does that work better? Yeah, that works better. All right, you guys. So we're going to go ahead and get going with morning stretch. You just follow along with me if you want to. Make sure I'm not breaking anything back there. You can follow along with me if you want. No matter what, this is something I do every morning anyway. So I figured I would take the time to, as I do it, anyone wants to join this personal trainer, get some stretching and limbering done, that's great. If anybody has any questions with regards to health issues, my expertise is in weight loss, smoking cessation. I can help you quit smoking. Getting in shape, and it doesn't really matter what age you are, 20 or 90. You can make personal growth changes at any age. You can improve even if 5 or 10% at any age. So any questions that you might have with regards to health, as a certified personal trainer and a certified health coach, my scope of practice covers everything from your nutrition, what you put in your body, how you perceive life in general. Your overall mental health is of concern to me as well. So any questions with regard to life, health, getting more in shape, getting less weight. This old guy lost 110 pounds naturally, so I know if I can take the time to walk it off and work it off and become a personal trainer in my mid-50s, anybody can make changes. And I like to think that I'm the living embodiment of 50 is the new 30 if you do it properly. I do firmly believe 60 is the new 40, 70 is the new 50. Conversely, if you sit around all day and you're not getting any exercise in, if you're just sitting around putting on pounds, and remember, I was the guy who did that, then yeah, 30 can be the new 50. And you don't want that to happen. You know, the heart, the ticker itself works best when you're at weight, when you're at the proper BMI. And that's a question I'm going to ask every client. That's one of the first things I need to find out. And that's basically by your height and your weight is your body mass index. And that tells me, are you in the healthy range? If not, if anything over 30 is considered obese. Anything over 35, and I was a 38, is considered very obese. At the ripe age of 45, I got hit with type 2 diabetes, 252 pounds, and a 30-year smoker. So I had to make some changes. The doctor gave me a little advice. You need to make some changes or start picking out fingers and toes that you don't like, because eventually some of them are going to go bye-bye. And I like all my fingers, I like all my toes just the way they are. So for me, it was a matter of falling back on my old Marine Corps training. As a youth, I went through boot camp at Camp Pendleton, and for me, deciding how I was going to lose the weight was just a matter of, all right, let's figure out something I'm going to be able to do every day, no matter where I am on the planet, something I will always be able to enjoy, so I'd be able to stick with it. Worked out for me power walking, what they now call Zen walking. So I put in about 25 miles a week at about 4 miles an hour, and my resting heart rate is below 60. Now that's another number that I will always ask my clients about, and that's something I'd like to ask you. Do you know what your resting heart rate is? My resting heart rate, the average 30-day average is about 58 right now. I'd like to get it down below 50. But resting heart rate on average is between 60 and 100. It all depends on the individual. There is no one perfect resting heart rate. But anywhere between 60 and 100 is resting heart rate average. BMI, you want to be healthy, that all depends on your height and weight. But my BMI now, it was 38, and I'll show you. Here's one from 2010. Still over 200 pounds here. This was about 205. And I think I was in 38 or 40s as far as waist and belt size at that time. So prior to this, now remember, this is almost 50 pounds down from what I was at my heaviest. And I'll show you a driver's license picture if you'd like to see it. Scary. But yeah, this is at 205. I'm at 140, right around 142 right now. I'm at weight. I've been at weight for a few years now. I'm not going to be changing. So I'll put this up here just as a reminder. It doesn't really matter how old you are. You can make changes at any age. How about let's getting in some limbering, some stretches. See who's joined us. Evidence, please. Anybody, I'd like to hear from you. One, I'd like to know, can you hear me? If somebody give me a thumbs up or something to let me know that you can actually hear me, that would be great. I'm using my blue speaker or microphone. Awesome. But I've got 3 settings on this. So if you don't hear me all that great, let me know, and I will change the setting to number 2 or number 3 and see if it sounds better. In the meantime, I would really appreciate any questions. And the question of the day, and I'm going to put this out to everybody, and I'll repeat this a few times. Anyone who can tell me what emotion animals don't share with humans? Because in my experience with animals, mostly dogs and cats, over the last 50 plus years, is that they share all of our emotions as far as loving, caring. They can be scared, they can be happy, they can be depressed, they can be elated. I've seen my dogs go nuts with just sheer giddy exhilaration, especially around supper time. Tear around the house. You can always tell how a dog feels based on their body language. Tails up and wagging, you know darn well they're happy. Teeth are bared and hackles are up and they're growling, you know they're not in a very good mood. And it's all based, I find, on how you raise them. They're just like children, 2 to 3-year-old children for life, these guys. So let's get some stretching in. I'm going to start with some overheads. And remember, I am an ACE-certified personal trainer and an ACE-certified health coach. So if you have any questions regarding exercise, losing weight, anything along the lines, any kind of health-related issues, ask me. I don't care if you want to talk about current topics. If I have half a brain for the subject, I'll answer your question. So challenge me, seriously. And I'm going to give a signed copy of my book, Pushing Double Nickels. It's on Amazon. You can go look at it right now. In fact, it's got a table of contents, 80 different chapters on different things, and you can actually decide if you have a comment or would like to discuss anything in the book. First chapter in this book is quitting smoking. The second chapter is losing weight and getting into shape at any age. But there's a whole A lot of chapters in this book. I cover a lot of things in my 200 plus pages. And whoever is the first person to either put it on screen, the only emotion that I believe we don't share with animals, that they don't have, that we have. This is an emotion that humans have that I haven't found in dogs, cats, or any of the other animals I've lived with. And I have worked on a farm, so domestic animals I'm very, very familiar with. You know, cows, pigs, horses, chickens. Brief time, but it was an interesting time. Love the state of Kentucky. Bluegrass state. Absolutely wonderful people there. All right, so let's get some stretching done. I don't have any questions yet, so if I don't have any questions, how about getting off your tushies and let's get some warm-up and exercise done, because when I'm done talking to you guys today, I've got 4 miles to accomplish because I've got to get my cardio in. Nobody's going to hire me as a personal trainer if I don't personally train myself well in the first place. The very first client of a personal trainer is him or herself, obviously. If I look like that, still, you most certainly wouldn't be hiring me as a personal trainer or health coach. So, let's go. We're going to do some overheads, overhead reaches. Let's see how high we can go. I want to see if you can touch the ceiling. Count along with me. We'll do 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now remember, if you're a person like me who has any kind of back pain issues, and 100 million of us out of 330 million Americans suffer back pain of some sort. So one of the best ways to combat back pain, and any pain in general, is exercise, especially if it's from osteoarthritis, especially if it's in the bones, like mine. One of the best things you can do, like the Tin Man, move. I mean, oil up and move. For us, our oil is movement. And that's how we lubricate all of our joints, is by movement and the proper diet. That we'll talk about later. All right, let's do some toe touches. Now, I want your feet about shoulder width apart. Only go down as far as is comfortable. If you can touch your toes, fine. If you can get down halfway, great. As far as is comfortable, do not push it. Conversely, if you can go further, then instead of touching your toes, touch your knuckles. Or reach between and touch a little bit behind you. Push it a little bit further than you can on each one. We're going to do 10 of these as well. You can count along with me. 1. Remember, feet shoulder width apart. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if you come up with a really good question, I'll just come sit down and talk to you about it. Up to 8, 9, and 10. All right, go ahead and do some body rotations. We're just going to take our elbows and let them lead us around. Feet a little bit more than shoulder width apart. You want a nice solid BOS, or base of stance. Center of gravity, if you want to use that one. Just follow the elbows until your body says that's as far as you're going to go. This is very good for the lumbar. You're working your upper quads, you're working your hamstrings in the back, your glutes, and you can really feel it all the way up in the top of your deltoids. Oh, yeah. All right, let's count these down from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Feels so good when you do those. Again, I'm challenging anyone today. Hit me up with a question. If it's a good one, I'll come sit down and talk to you. If it's a short one, I'll answer it from up here. In the meantime, if you're sitting, get up. Let's get some stretching done. Let's get warmed up. Let's make sure that your day gets going. It is still morning for most of us. We'll do some hip rotations. Just follow along with me to the left. Very good, because we're going to work on opening up these hips in a minute. That one will take a little bit more effort. And let me remind you, a free signed copy of my book. You get your choice, hardback or soft cover, for anybody can answer the question of the day. And I'll repeat it. Let's go back the other direction. You can count them if you want. I'm just rolling them around while it feels good. So the question of the day, for anybody that wants to either answer, go ahead and answer on screen, or you can send a message to me. I've got a million ways you can contact me. Probably the quickest is to hit me on email, pushingdoublenickels@yahoo.com. Same thing as the title of the book, pushingdoublenickels@yahoo.com. But whoever answers this question today will get a free signed copy of the book. I know it's not wonderful, awesome, but it is unique, and it's something I can give away because I wrote it and it belongs to me. So my publisher sends me a lot I can send out, and I get out and do speeches and talks and public speaking regarding how to lose weight naturally, how you can quit smoking on the first try if you put in the effort. At any age, you can improve your health. It doesn't matter. At 45 years old, I was 250 pounds and a 30-year cigarette smoker. And I got hit with type 2 diabetes and had to make some changes. So at age 56, I became a personal trainer, a certified personal trainer, and a certified health coach. Mainly for me, but also I needed to do a career change. Sitting around on computers for 25 years didn't do me any good. And like I said, that was 2010 when I'd already taken off about 50 pounds. And you want to see the worst? I'll show you the worst. You guys can, just so you understand what I'm talking about. And I keep this on purpose. It's my driver's license picture. I probably better cover up the number. That was my driver's license picture from about 2004. DMV just kept renewing it. Yeah, 252 pounds. That was me. I did not do myself any favors. And it's a pretty simple thing. It's a pretty simple process once you understand how you're going to be, one, you need to get to weight, and two, to stay at weight. In other words, you got to get yourself more healthy, and then you want to stay healthy. As a personal trainer and health coach, one of my goals is to train my clients to become their own personal trainers, their own health coaches. I mean, sure, I don't mind. You want to pay me $25, $50 an hour for life? I won't argue with you. But if I can train you in a couple of months, maybe an hour or two a week, we spend the time talking about nutrition, we spend the time talking about exercise programs, whatever is going to work in your world. Because there is no generic platform for somebody becoming healthy. Each person has to have an individualized plan. I don't know where you're starting. If you were starting where I was starting, at age 45, at 252 pounds, 3 decades of a cigarette smoker, mostly Camel filters, about a pack a day at that time, and I got hit with type 2 diabetes, and the symptoms were very, very strange. If any of you out there have diabetes, you understand what I'm talking about when type 2 diabetes onsets. Extreme thirst, nothing. There was just no way to quench my thirst. My vision actually improved. This is before I had the laser eye surgery, but my vision improved. So my contacts and my glasses, the prescription wasn't working. And those were key indicators. 2005, when I did the internet search, pre-diabetes, and when I went in, my blood sugars were 380. My A1C, my blood sugars were 380, and my A1C was somewhere in 8 range. Anyhow, I'm down around 6 now, 6.1. My pancreas is half gone. You get up to 250 pounds at that age, and you don't do something prior, then yeah, that is the chance that you run. Right now, and let me get up close because I want you guys to really understand this and see my face when I'm telling you about this. Right now, 70 million Americans have prediabetes. That means that 70 million out of 330 million people are close to being where I'm at with type 2. I'll have type 2 diabetes the rest of my life. I'll be on medication the rest of my life for it. But it's under control. So I don't have any issues with the neuropathy, when the nerves in the ends of your toes and your fingers and even in your eyes, retinopathy, you start to lose feeling. You get numbness and tingling and eventually a burning pain from diabetes if it's left untreated. So I take two different kinds of medication. I'm on both Invocom and metformin. Those are the two medications I take for that, besides blood pressure and everything else. But the bottom line is you can make the changes necessary to improve things. You are not stuck. I don't care if you're 20 or if you're 70. You can make the changes to improve things. You can get rid of cigarettes on the first try. You can get the weight off naturally without signing on to diet programs and diet plans and short-term fixes. What you have to have is a long-term goal. Lifestyle changes are what's required. When I start with a new client, especially one that wants to lose weight, first thing I have them do is to fill out my week-long food diary. So I know Sunday through the following Sunday, everything that they ate, everything they drank. I want to know the amount they drank. I want to know what time they ate it. I want to know if it had a brand name, if they know how many calories was in it, and what was the emotion? What were they feeling when they ate that food? Were they eating it because they were hungry, or was there some other reason involved? And some of us out there understand there are not always reasons to eat based on hunger. Sometimes it's there, eat it. Sometimes there are other reasons that we have a need to eat. But being healthy and getting healthy is a fairly simple procedure. It's a fairly simple formula. 75% is your diet, 25% is the exercise you do, or not being sedentary, off your butt syndrome. So 75% of your diet, that's what you concentrate on. 3,500 calories. That's all it takes to add 1 pound of fat to your body. Every 3,500 calories that you consume, that you don't burn off, either just breathing, living, about 10% of your body weight is the amount of calories that you're required just to sustain you daily, your autonomic functions, your breathing, your heart rate. Everything else beyond that are calories that you either burn off by movement, exercise, or add on. Like I say, 3,500 calories turns into 1 pound of fat. Conversely, you burn off 3,500 calories, you do that kind of exercise to burn off that amount of those calories, you take off 1 pound of fat. And the choice really is yours. And it doesn't matter if you're, like I say, 20 or 90. You can start making positive changes anytime. If you, like me, if anyone out there like me had a cigarette smoking habit or has a habit still, and for me it was from age 15 to age 46. So that was 31 years as a cigarette smoker. And that's pretty much full time. Even the brief period of time in Marine Corps boot camp where they didn't allow us to smoke, and that was for about the first 8 weeks. And after the first 8 weeks, we were allowed to smoke, but the ashes went into the top of the trash can lid. They didn't go on the ground anywhere, as did all the butts, and everything went into the garbage. And of course, they PT'd the heck out of us afterwards. Physical therapy, what basically Marine Corps terminology for trained us. Physical training. The bottom line is they made sure that, one, we understood that anything we put into our bodies had an effect, good, bad, or otherwise. And I still am that way. Yes, 3,500 calories can turn into 1 pound of fat, so the quantity of what you eat comes into play first and foremost. And then once you have the quantity under control, then you can start working more on the quality of what you eat. Now, don't get me wrong. Even now, and remember, when I this weight, that was a little over 200 pounds. And that was still 50 pounds less than I weighed at my heaviest, 252. Even at 205 pounds, I was still working on taking off the weight. This wasn't something that happened overnight. I started this journey in 2005. At that time, I was still working in computers. Computer training, to be specific. 13 years at New Horizons and almost 13 years at Quick Start Intelligence. So in computers, you spend a lot of time sitting on the job. And that's exactly what I would do. I would sit on the job from the time I got in, whether I was at my desk or whether I was in a meeting or whether I was traveling to go to a meeting. I was always sitting. I would go out to lunch and I'd hit Wendy's, I hit Carl's, I hit Mickey D's. I might hit a couple of those different places and bring it all back to the office, sit there and eat it, right? And then spend the rest of my afternoon working on the computer. Then I would go home, say hi to the wife and kids, and get back on the computer and get back to work until I went to bed. When you have a job you love, and I loved computers, I loved information technology, still a guru, geek kind of guy as far as that goes. But when you have a job that makes you sedentary, and there's many, many of us out there that have these kinds of jobs, it can't catch up with you, especially if you don't watch it. And it's a slow process. For me, between 2003, and there was a breakup involved, obviously, emotional, and 2005, I gained well over 60 pounds. And I didn't even see it coming. I didn't even see it happening. By the time the beginning of 2005 hit, and I was at 252 pounds and still smoking, the symptoms I was having from diabetes at that time were just outrageous. I could not drink enough liquids. I just couldn't stop, and it didn't matter what I drank. The worst part was I was still drinking sugar sodas at the time, so I was just making things worse. And obviously when you're drinking a lot, you're going to the bathroom a lot. My vision got better. So these are symptoms that can show up when you are pre-diabetic. And let me repeat this. 70 million of us, out of 330 million Americans right now, 70 million of us are pre-diabetic. That's on top of the 30 million who've already been diagnosed, like me. I'm a type 2 diabetic, will be the rest of my life. And for me, there will always be the ability, if I don't watch it, to overeat and be sedentary. I love to sit around and watch movies, and I do not deny myself the foods that I like. I eat everything that everybody else does. And yes, I hit Mickey D's once a month, but I don't do it all the time. And I also understand that not only what I put in my body, but more importantly, the quantity of what I put into my body, the portions and the portion size are going to make a big difference in my weight. I can blow back up to 252 pounds very easy. I'm genetically predisposed. English, European, yada yada. And it runs in my family. And my uncle, I won't say which uncle, was very, very heavy. I mean, extremely heavy. And I was 38. My BMI was 38 when I was hit with the type 2 diabetes in 2005. So I didn't do myself any favors at all, sitting around, eating what I wanted, but not doing any exercise and not watching anything as far as the amounts. I just ate and ate and ate and ate and ate. I didn't even think about it. Now at least I think about it. I really don't have much choice. Now I read every single label in the store. In fact, I do presentations. If you have a group, anybody out there has an organization, a group, or you just want to learn how to read labels, that's one of the things I do as a personal trainer, but more as a health coach. The ACE certified health coach and ACE certified personal trainers are also HIPAA certified. We are HIPAA compliant. We are the only certified individuals under personal trainers and health coaches that have to follow those regulations. So anyone, any of my clients, whether it's in person, on Skype, anything, emails, any of that goes on between us is strictly confidential. And that's important because a lot of my clients do not want to go walking into a health club. When you were like where I was, at a BMI of 38, 250 pounds, last thing you want to do is to walk into a health club with all these healthy people running around. Self-conscious is an understatement at that point. But the point is, you start somewhere. And everybody has an individual goal to get to. Everybody needs an individual plan to get there. It's not just something generic that you can say, oh, here's your way to get healthy. Here's the the dummy's guide to getting healthy. And I really considered putting something out sort of like that. I mean, besides the book I published in 2014, Pushing Double Nickels, I put that out to help people. I mean, I figure if this old couch potato can walk off 110 pounds naturally, get rid of my cigarette habit on the first attempt. I haven't had one since July 15, 2005. That was the last cigarette. And yeah, you bet I remember that date. And I remember everything I did up to that point to get ready for that. I was so ready by the time that day came. There was no way I was not going to quit. I have someone who's joined me. Hang on. We want to thank everybody who did not give away a puppy or a kitten as a present this year. My rescue babies are all in agreement with me on this. Animals are not presents. Kittens and puppies are not something you place under the tree without thinking about it in advance or planning it. Making sure that you know that whoever is getting a puppy or a kitten for any holiday or a bunny for Easter, they're ready to take on that 15, 20-year responsibility. It's just like having a 2 to 3-year-old child. Same emotions, same intelligence level. Right, Zoe? You want to get down? Okay. Anyhow, just a reminder. And again, today, as I will do every day I'm broadcasting, whoever can tell me what emotion do animals not share with us? What emotion do we have? And this is my opinion. I've had dogs, cats my entire life. So, one emotion that I find that they do not have, that we have, that we don't share. I'll sign it. I'll send it to whoever gets it. Whoever gets the question right. You can put it on screen if you want. You want your guests known, then you'll be known if you get it right immediately. Or you can email me, pushingdoublenickels@yahoo.com. The first one that gets it right, I'll announce it tomorrow. So anybody has any questions, let me pop on down here and get a look. Come on, challenge me. Seriously. I'd like to know if anybody has a question that I can answer. You want to quit smoking? You want to lose weight? You want to get healthy? Pick something. How about everybody fan me who's on me right now? I'd really appreciate that. This year coming up is my year, as far as I'm concerned, to help as many people as I possibly can. And in 2018, anybody that wants to quit smoking, I'm going to help for free. I'll Skype with you on it. I'll email with you on it. I'll text you on it. We'll put together a plan. If you're a smoker now and you are ready, because remember, you have to be ready here, you got to be ready here. If you're not ready to get rid of the cigarettes, I certainly can't motivate you. Even as a ex-Marine personal trainer, I can yell at you all you want, but I can't make you want to quit smoking. So, but if you're ready, I'll help you. Free, seriously. Just email me, pushingdoublenickels@yahoo.com. You'll hear from me, and I will help you quit smoking. Anybody that wants to lose weight, I can help them on Skype or in person also, if you're anywhere out here in the Inland Empire, Southern California. But of course, I do charge rates as a personal trainer. I got to keep a roof over my head. And I do public speaking for anyone that has a group or organization that wants me to come out there and talk about just generally becoming more healthier. I have a PowerPoint presentation that I give called Becoming Healthier at Any Age. And a new one coming out this next year, which is extremely important, but as strange as what's going on in our world right now. Staying balanced in an unbalanced world. And that's something that, we can all work on. Let's put it that way. So come on, you guys. Hit me with a question. Somebody. Challenge me. Hit me up. Otherwise, I'm just going to get back up and do some stretching. And if you guys want to join me in some stretching, that's awesome. Because I also like to see as many people up and moving as possible. The last thing you want to do is just be sitting around all the time. Sedentary. Being sedentary is what's really going to get you. Take it from somebody who knows. Let me show you guys again. one more time. This was 252 pounds. 252 pounds at that time. So I guarantee you, if this old couch potato can do it, anybody can do it. And you don't need diet plans. You don't need surgery. You don't have to sign up for specific food programs. Because anything that you do short term is not something that's going to go on long term. And the ultimate goal is to make the lifestyle changes that you need to make to become more healthy. It's a simple process. I mean, not that it's simple to do, because people are all in different places on this path. Some people are not even ready to think about it. You know, leave me alone, I'm happy. 2004, I'd say that was probably me. I was probably 240, pushing up to 250 pounds that year. Enjoying my career in information technology. I was in computers since the mid to late 80s. So well known, you know, look me up on LinkedIn. You can see some of my clients still I'm very close with. But I was happy. I was heavy, yeah. I was obese. I didn't know my BMI at that time. That was a number I didn't know. I didn't even know what BMI was at that time. And remember, I'm 45 years old. Right? So 252 pounds, 2004, 252 pounds. Still smoking cigarettes, 30 years. In 2004, 2005 was my 31st year, and the year I quit. But 2004, I was happy, heavy, 252 pounds. My BMI, I determined, was 38. It's now 21, 22. Still smoking, but I was happy. I didn't have anything telling me physically, hey, you better make some changes. You got some health issues coming. I was on blood pressure at the time, blood pressure medication, but nothing in my endocrine system, nothing in my pancreas, nothing that was telling me, it wasn't like, breaking an arm or, a cut or something, a pain. There was no indications as I was becoming pre-diabetic that it was happening. And let me repeat, 70 million Americans right now, 70 million Americans are pre-diabetic. That means they're right on the verge of becoming type 2 diabetic. And to me, I like to look at it as the glass is half full. That means that if you're pre-diabetic, hey, we can stop it, Something as simple as taking off 10% of your body weight can make that change, seriously. For instance, at 252 pounds, had I taken off at least 25 pounds, that would have made a big difference. Not as big a difference as taking off the 100 pounds, 110 pounds, I should say, that I have. But it would have made a difference to the point where I might not have become full-blown diabetic had I at least gone that far. 10%, and I can guarantee anybody out there, take off 10% of the body weight that you have. If your BMI is 30 or above, or you don't know your BMI, it's a simple thing to figure out. Take your height by your weight, look up the Google scale for BMI index, and just go across and you'll know exactly what your BMI is. And if your BMI is where it should be, then obviously you need to make some changes. When I take on a new client, first thing I have them do is to fill out a food diary. So I know everything they ate for a whole week, everything they ate, everything they drank. I want to know the amount. I want to know what time. I also want to know what were their emotions. What were they thinking? What were they feeling when they had that food? Did they eat it because they were hungry, or was there something else going on? And we go over that whole week. We'll talk about that week. And we'll figure out, also based on, all right, I also want them to keep track of what activities did you do on that day as well. Because I need to have both ends of the scale. What's going in, what's going out. I can figure out what your daily calorie burn is, just your autonomic function burn, based on your weight. For instance, a 200-pound person on average is going to need around 1,900 calories just to stay at the weight they are. Anything beyond that, above or below, they're either using a negative balance or a positive energy balance. At the end of the day, everybody wants to have a negative energy balance if possible, or at least stay right there. If you are putting on a positive energy balance on a daily basis, or a weekly basis, or monthly basis, if you're in general putting on a positive energy balance, and it's a simple formula, 3,500 calories becomes a pound of fat. So for every 3,500 calories that you don't burn, either autonomically just in general, and there are very few people that are going to burn 3,500 calories just sitting. So don't think that's going to happen. A little activity is required. 75% of staying healthy is your diet. 25% of staying healthy is exercise, movement. Anything that gets your heart rate double what your resting heart rate is. You want to double your resting heart rate. If you don't know what your resting heart rate is, find out. I wear 2 different bands that track everything from my steps to my sleep to my heart rate, just so I understand and I know. I also highly recommend, I'm not going to say any specific brands, as ACE certified personal trainer and ACE certified health coach, we do not support any specific brand names or products, simply better health. But tracking bands, awesome way. They Bluetooth right to your computer. You can look at exactly what's going on a daily basis. You can track the calories you're burning on the exercise you're putting in. But for me, when I take on a new client, whether I'm doing a lot more on Skype these days, at BradSF007, I think it's on there somewhere. But when I take on a new client, first we figure out, are they having a negative energy balance or a positive energy balance at the end of the day? Are they putting on calories, or are they taking off calories, or are they staying where they're at? Then we figure out, what are their goals? What do they want to accomplish? What do they need to accomplish? And sometimes this does require for me to work with their physician, at least understanding their numbers. Obviously, things like their height and weight are important. And BMI, we figure out from there. But I want to know, do they have blood pressure issues? Do they have diabetes now? Are they pre-diabetic? What was their A1C on their last tests? Do they have cholesterol? What are their lipids, their triglycerides? I want to know. How is their blood flowing? Do they have issues with possible arteriosclerosis issues? Remember, coronary arterial disease is still the leading cause of death in America. And most of that is based on diet and being sedentary. So if you can counteract those 2 things by getting your diet under control and getting in a little more exercise, why not? If the simple 10% can make a big difference in your life, why not? And remember, if this old couch potato can start at 45, 250 pounds, still smoking, and do it at 58, I am a certified personal trainer and health coach. And now I talk to organization and groups. Last organization I spoke with was in Costa Rica, actually. Shout out to the folks in Playa. Anybody can make these changes. I don't care how old you are. Now, I want some questions. Any questions, comments, theories, postulations, ideas. Challenge me. I don't care what question you've got. If it's got a question on health, question on living, question on life, you got a current events question, I got lots of opinions. See, that's one thing that's really cool about writing a book, and you learn a lot about writing a book. You get to put your own opinions in, especially when it's a self-help book. I got all my opinions in here. It was awesome. I got to unload. I highly recommend it. If you have a chance, I mean, it's better than keeping a diary. This is kind of like a diary that you don't mind people read. It's like, like a blog that's like, hey, check this out. And I really have helped people with this book, and that's the cool part. On Amazon, some of the reviews I've gotten are from folks that have actually used the book to quit smoking and lose weight and get their health in order. So for me, my goal was accomplished already. Not that I don't want to sell 1 million copies. Who doesn't? You want to know an interesting fact? The Library of Congress. Every book that has a number like mine, every book that's published in America goes into the Library of Congress. Every single one. And it's neat because the Library of Congress is online now. So go on, if you're computer savvy at all, go to www.loc.gov, I believe it is, Library of Congress, or just Google it. All the books in there, everything, and even they've even been digitizing all of the art, and it's really cool. Go look. But of every book that's ever been published, all the books out there, 99% of the books published have sold 100 copies. 99% of all the books ever published have sold less than 100 copies. I can at least say I beat that, thank God. But not too much. Somebody is going to get a free copy of this book if they email me or put it up here, first one, to tell me my question of the day: what emotion is it that we have that dogs, cats, and other animals don't have? Now, this, of course, is my opinion. And I am writing a dog book, so I do consider myself something of a dog expert. And after 50 plus years with dogs, cats, domestic animals, period, I think I've learned a bit. The last 5 years, I've been doing a lot of research into animal emotions. And I've learned quite a bit. Body language is probably the most important factor when understanding a dog. And you cannot judge a dog by its breed. Somebody that tells me pit bulls are dangerous, I won't say it. I won't do it. Pit bulls are not dangerous. It's the people who own the pit bulls that are dangerous. Pit bulls can be the exact same loving dog as any other dog. They can be as gentle, as kind as a golden retriever, if they are trained properly, if they are raised properly. Lately, there have been a few incidents with a few pit bull maulings, and just one last night, a lady in Kentucky was killed by a neighbor's pit bull. This is not normal. This is not normal to the breed. People train them this way, is why they get this reputation. They are not born this way. No dog is ever born to go after and kill people, just like no child is ever born to go after and kill people. So remember, judging a dog by its breed is just like judging somebody by the color of their skin. Wrong. Flat out wrong. All right, hit me with some questions, you guys. Come on, seriously. I'm going to get myself rolling here in a little bit because I got 4 miles to go accomplish so I can get my cardio in. I guarantee you there is not going to be very few people that would hire me as a personal trainer or health coach if I wasn't a very good health coach and personal trainer for myself. Anyone who's a personal trainer and health coach is going to tell you our first client is ourselves. We have to walk the walk. We can't just talk the talk. I know my BMI. Do you guys know your BMI? How about that one? Anybody out there know what their BMI is right now? How about your resting heart rate? Yeah, there's a challenge. Anybody know what their resting heart rate is? Come on, bring it. Anybody. Challenge you. Hit me with some questions, you guys. Anybody. Any question. Anything that you can think of, I can answer. Or at least give the best shot, anyway. Anybody want to do some stretching? Is everybody up and moving? How about let's do some knee rotations, and then we'll open up some hips. How's that? If nobody's going to hit me with a question, I'm just going to start doing a little more stretching. So for those of you that want to do a little more stretching, I want you to stand up. I want you to put your feet together. And remember, this does require balance, this one. You're going to put your knees together as well and put your hands on your knees. Here, let me put this down a little more so you can see what I'm doing here. There we go. Again, we're putting our feet together, putting our hands on our knees, and then we'll rotate. Going out, left. One of the most important things to do before you do any kind of physical activity is to stretch. Let's go back the other direction. Now, I'm not counting these down because I want to see if you guys have any questions for me. I'd rather answer your questions than sit here and count down exercises or stretching. All right, feels good. Show you how to open up your hips. Put you back up here. Hip issues are always a problem. Myself, I have osteoarthritis. I've got osteoarthritis in my hips. I've got it in my back. I got osteoarthritis and bursitis in both shoulders. And if you saw the MRIs and X-rays in my back, you'd be going, how the heck is he still standing? I literally have bone spurs from L1 through S5, and I have a tailbone, in my coccyx, that doesn't go straight down. Normally when people sit down, your tailbone, which is on the end of your spine, curves under to protect things. I have a weird one. Mine just goes straight down and slightly off to the side. Not good. But when you have osteoarthritis, bones, grinding, sorry. All right, nobody's going to be competing with me today on barking. Quiet. When you have animals, one thing you have to live with. Come here, you guys. Come here. Everybody over here. Right here. Mr. Arthritis is favoring his left paw today. But this is the barker. Mr. Zachary is actually about 13 years old now. He could be as old as 15, but 13 for sure. And he has arthritis in his left arm, wrist. So quite often he does not like to be here. Why don't you get him right here? There. Relax. Take it easy. Is that better? Yes? All right. Anyhow, again, question of the day. Who wants a free signed book? Hard copy, soft cover. What animal emotion do they not have that humans have? My opinion, of course. But there's one emotion that I believe that humans have that I have not seen in any dog or cat or any animal, period. I've seen everything from happiness to depression, elation and joy. I mean, just sheer, animals. Those of you that have cats and dogs, the love is unconditional. At the same time, it's like living with a 2 to 3 year old child that's got athletic capabilities. And it's a 15 to 20 year commitment, which is why giving a dog or a cat, a puppy or kitten, for a holiday present without planning in advance, especially with the person who's getting it, is going, here's a 15, 20 year responsibility. Please take care of it. Well, this year, 2017, and I hate to say the number, but over 10 million cats and dogs were euthanized in American shelters alone, in kill shelters. 10 million. So my goal is to get that down eventually to zero. If we have to shut down all puppy mills, and we must shut down the puppy mills. AKC and I have had issues for quite some time. I'd like to see them do more support for animals that are mixed breeds. All of my animals are mixed breeds. I don't have anything AKC registered. All animals, in my opinion, need to have caring. We can't just abandon them. One of our responsibilities as humans, and this is a chapter in the book, we are the caretakers right now. Some will argue that we're at the top of the food chain, but we're most certainly near the top of the food chain. And consciously, we know what we're doing. These guys, cats, dogs, domestic cats and dogs, they're totally responsible. We are totally responsible for them. They rely on us completely. So just keep in mind, if you take any animal into your home or you're going to give any animal to anyone, it's a lifetime commitment. It's 15 to 20 years for each one. So plan for it, please. I'd like to make sure that our kill shelters are turned into non-kill shelters eventually, hopefully all of them, and all of the millions of animals every year that go unwanted in these shelters. We need to stop that. Seriously, we do need to stop that. We're better than that. Seriously. Anyhow, any questions? Hit me. Come on. I'm challenging anyone to hit me with questions today. I don't care if it's questions on personal training. I don't care if it's questions on health. If you have questions in general. As an A-certified health coach, my scope of practice ranges everything from your mental health to your spiritual health to your physical health to your nutritional health. I am trained in that capacity. Of course, you don't have to put this online here. If you want to ask questions of me personally, you can email me, pushingdoublenickels@yahoo.com. I can even arrange and do a Skype session with you, and we can just talk about it person to person. We are HIPAA regulated. All ACE certified personal trainers, all ACE certified health coaches are HIPAA regulated. The same as any of your doctors or nurses. We must keep our records quiet. Nothing that is said between me and my clients is discussed with anyone else. The only person that I normally discuss a client with is their physician, and that is only after we do the proper exchange of paperwork and agreements, and you say, yes, please talk to my doctor, get my numbers, so that we can devise a plan to make me healthier. With 70 million pre-diabetics out there, a lot of people need my help. And remember, 2/3 of Americans right now are either overweight or obese. I was there. I got caught up in that. That was overweight. The 250 plus pounds was obese. And if I can work it off, if I can walk it off naturally, making lifestyle changes and making the health changes, the choices that I made, I can certainly help other people. That's one of the reasons I became trained as a personal trainer and health coach, because I knew, having been there, I mean, it's one thing to walk into a health club and you have nothing personal out there, a 20-something personal trainer come up and go, hey, what can I do to help you? You know, when you're in a position where I was at age 45, at 250 pounds and 30 years of cigarettes, and you know, and believe me, I went into an LA Fitness, you know, once. No. I turned right back around and walked right back out. And I figured, you have to do this yourself. So I was able to fall back on my Marine Corps boot camp training, my inner boot, if you will. And basically just devise, here's what I need to do to get where I need to be. And it was a long process. You know, I started my health changes, you know, at 250 pounds, a 30-year smoker, at 45 years old, when they hit me with type 2 diabetes. And of course, I had all the symptoms. Hang on. Somebody have a question. Let me see. Anybody? Come on, hit me up. How about somebody ask me how I lost 110 pounds? Anybody? I'm looking for questions. Hit me with a question. Well, thanks, Dave the Wise. I appreciate that. I got a good feeling about you, too. I still want somebody. He's that big. Somebody hit me up with a challenging question. Or just something semi-challenging. I don't know if I'm helping anybody today. I like to help people. As a trainer in computer technology, I really enjoyed working in computers. I love the heck out of it. I still do. You know, I'm still the IT geek I always was. Just now I'm no longer in that capacity since 56, and that's a few years ago now. Personal training, writing the book, helping other people try and get their health in order has been a priority for me. This next year, I've got a dog book coming out, working title, All Dogs Cry. This time I'd like to help dogs. Seriously. There are way too many animals, especially dogs and cats, that are abandoned. I mean, literally, they're sitting in shelters right now. And most of them, they have a week. If somebody doesn't come in and rescue them in that week, they're killed. And they use the word euthanasia. I hate that word. That is so wrong. I mean, that's like, you know, putting something to sleep mercifully, like there's no feeling in it. I guarantee you, these animals are scared to death, absolutely horrified. And believe me, they know what's going on, especially in the kill shelters. So, yeah, my goal is, one, I'm going to put at least part of the proceeds for my book next year, the dog book. Part of the proceeds are going to go to help with shelters. Empty the shelters is one of my big projects. There's also the Anaheim Fix project. There's a few in my area, and I've supported the National ASPCA for a long time, as well as, PETA, even though they get a little over the top sometimes, but they still do good work. And IFAW, the International Fund for Animal Welfare. Awesome work they do. Just awesome work they do. So anyhow, we are responsible. You know, we're the caretakers. We're the ones who are currently in charge of this planet. So what happens to the planet the inhabitants, not just the humans, but all of the ones who share it with us that have to put up with us humans. And I put it that way on purpose because they literally have to put up with us. There are some humans out there that have absolutely no right interacting with animals on this planet. And they would catch my ire, to say the least, if I was able to catch them in person. Anybody who knows about anything going on with animal fighting, dog rings, the FBI is now investigating all animal abuse, so that can be reported, and I highly recommend it. The 99.9% of us humans out here who understand, the difference between right and wrong, we need to really step it up a little bit, and literally put our foot down on those who do not understand that or do not support that opinion. I know for a fact, having been a military brat, former Marine, lived all over this planet, people are good. People are naturally good. It doesn't matter their religion, their faith, their color, where they're from. Inside, humans are good. Few. It's the few rotten apples we got to keep an eye on. Those are the ones that make everyone else look bad. But there's many of us out there, very, very quiet, but we shine. And now it's time to shine even brighter. Time to get healthier, time to lose weight, get yourself in shape. If you're one of those people who was where I was in 2005, if you are heavy and you want to lose weight, you can do it. Do not think that I'm too far gone, I'm too old. There is no reason at any age you can't start improving yourself. So, any questions? Hit me up. Otherwise, we'll get up, we'll do a little bit more exercise, and then I've actually got to go do some miles, you guys. You're not going to hire me as your personal trainer if I don't at least look the part. How about it? Any questions? You guys are so easy. Come on, somebody challenge me. Anybody decide yet what the answer to my question of the day is? Anybody remember what my question of the day is? Anybody remember what you're going to get if you get it right? Email me at pushingdoublenickels@yahoo.com if you know the answer to my question. The question is simple. What human emotion do we have that I believe dogs and cats especially don't share? What feeling the humans have that I'm pretty darn certain other animals do not share? I believe this is a human-only emotion. So anybody that gets that right, if they email it to me at Pushing Double Nickels, the first response that I get with the correct answer, I'll announce tomorrow. But that person will get a signed copy of Pushing Double Nickels. It's $30 on Amazon if you go look it up right now on Amazon.com. I think the soft cover is $19.95, hard copy is $29.95. Take your pick, either one. I'll sign it and I'll send it to whatever address you give me. But you answer my question. What animal emotion, or what emotion do animals not share with us humans? Give me some clue that what you think that might be. I'm curious to see if anybody out there will get this one right. A couple other questions that you want to ask yourself. What's my resting heart rate? Do you know what your resting heart rate is? If you don't, I think you should find out. How about your BMI? Do you know what your BMI is right now? How about your A1C? When was the last time you had your A1C tested? Do you know what your blood sugars are? Is your cholesterol under control? Are your triglycerides where they should be? Bad cholesterol versus good cholesterol, LDL versus HDL, and the triglycerides. Are all the numbers that you and your doctor discuss in your physical where they should be? In other words, is your doctor happy with all of your numbers at the end of your annual checkup? And I hope everybody's getting an annual checkup, which should include at that checkup a discussion of the lab work that you have done prior to that visit, which should be a general, full metabolic panel, A1C, everything that the doctor needs to know on an annual basis. If you're healthy, are all the numbers that you're talking about with your doctor where they need to be? Is your doctor happy with your numbers, your weight, your blood sugars, your cholesterols, your blood pressure? All of the things that are going to determine, Are you going to be around on this planet for a long time? Or are you going to be one of those folks that, says, hey, 50 is the new 30, 60 is the new 40? Or are you going to be in the unfortunate position, and 2 years in a row now, the average lifespan has decreased? And that scares the living daylights out of me. That means that, on average, humans are living a shorter lifespan, even though our technology and our knowledge of how to live longer has increased. I mean, we have the ability now, just understanding our endocrine system as good as we do, to take control of diabetes, to take off weight naturally without having to do diet plans and surgeries and sign up for things. This Nutrisystems and all these commercials I see, I go, give me a break. You're just wasting your time. You're wasting your energy. Yeah, sure. If you want to buy their food for life, go for it. If that's what your goal is. But I would think that what you want to do is the same thing I've done. I eat whatever I like. I love steaks and meatloaf and ribs. And yeah, I hit Mickey D's once in a while. I love a double quarter pounder with cheese and a fillet of fish and fries. Ooh, love fries. But I don't do it all the time. I don't do it the way I used to do it when I got up to that and 50 pounds heavier. That I don't do anymore. I'll show you again, just for the shock factor. This, 252 pounds. 252. I'll show you my ACE personal trainer certification. Yeah, 252 pounds. That was me. And yeah, I keep this old license on purpose. So I always see myself, at least still, this way. And I know darn well, if I don't watch it, literally, I can get back that way quite easily. Simple matter. Let me repeat again. Staying healthy, getting healthy, is a simple process. 75% is your diet, what you consume. 25% of the plan is exercise, moving, not being sedentary, not sitting. Getting up and getting your heart moving at least twice your resting heart rate. My resting heart rate right now, the 30-day average is 58. I'm on the low end. But then again, I've been working on getting my resting heart rate down for 13 years. You got to start somewhere. I am quite certain that when I was 45 years old and 250 pounds and still smoking cigarettes and sitting around all the time working on computers, that my resting heart rate was nowhere near 58. The average resting heart rate is between 60 and 100 beats a minute. So you can figure out your resting heart rate, and if you're anywhere between 60 and 100 beats a minute, you can figure you're somewhere on the average scale. The slower your resting heart rate, the lower your resting heart rate, the healthier your heart is. That means it doesn't have to work as hard to pump that blood where it needs to go. When you're resting and that heart is just pumping not as hard, it doesn't have to work as hard, then everything is working more properly. So, like I said, I have literally seen every episode of Gilligan's Island. I am the original couch potato. 2.5 decades working on computers and in computer technology blew me up to 250 pounds and hit me with type 2 diabetes. So I had to make the changes. I had to, I like all my toes. I like all my fingers. And I get to keep them as far as I'm concerned. I do not have one bit of diabetic neuropathy in any of my fingers or toes. I see my podiatrist annually for my checkups. I see my eye doctor annually for my checkups. I do my labs every 90 days for my primary care physician for my A1C. And on my last visit, it was 6.1. You should know what your A1C is. If you don't know what your A1C is, you best find out. If you have not had a general physical lately, you better get in and get one done. And before you get that physical done, get in and get your lab work done. Make sure you get a full metabolic panel. You need to find out exactly where you're at to find out where you need to go. If you're fine, if your checkup and your doctor says your weight's good, your blood pressure's good, your A1C is good, your cholesterol's awesome, if your doctor is happy with your numbers, then you don't need to make any changes. You just keep doing what you're doing. So if your numbers are awesome, then you're doing something right. Either that or you're 18 years old and you haven't started screwing up yet. That'll come. You know. But if you aren't where you want to be, or where your doctor wants you to be, or where hopefully you guys should agree where you need to be, and you need to lose weight, or if you have pre-diabetes, or you got hit with diabetes type 2 like I was, I did not recognize the symptoms of pre-diabetes until I was a full-blown diabetic. At 250 pounds and still smoking cigarettes, I didn't do myself any favors. But I didn't have to do the lap band. I didn't do bariatric surgery. I haven't signed up for any diet plans. I simply figured out, all right, I need to do enough exercise and watch my diet to the point where I can start taking off this weight. And that's exactly what I did. It took me about 10 years overall, a little less, maybe 9 years, to walk off everything that I'd put on, to go from 252 pounds to my current 140. I vary between 140 and 145. My BMI currently is 21, 22. My body fat is somewhere between 6 and 8%. And at 58, I don't think that's too awful bad, considering where I was 13 years ago, which was, I'm quite certain at this point, had I not made the changes, taken off the weight, gotten rid of the cigarettes, I probably wouldn't be here talking to you right now. You want a scary fact? 90 million people die in their sleep every night. We lose about 150 million a day. That's just a number. Hate to scare you with numbers, but daily. 90,000 people die every night. 150,000 people die every day. Not million. 90,000 Americans die every night in their sleep. And having been tracking my heart health for a few years now, I track my heart on 2 different devices, and I won't say what, but I've used many different devices. It doesn't really matter which ones you use. If you have a tracking device that tracks your steps and your sleep and your heart rate, I learned something very interesting, and I think we all kind of knew this anyway. When you're sleeping, you've got various stages of sleep. You light sleep, you've got REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, and that is when you're dreaming, and then there's deep sleep, and that's when you're absolutely, nothing is happening. But the REM sleep, that's when you're dreaming, and during REM sleep, your heart is acting like you are actually doing what it is you're dreaming about. So think about this, and I mean really think about this, because this is something even Dr. Oz has, he's a good man. He knows what he's doing. A little bit too commercial, but he's making a lot of money. Bottom line is, when you're dreaming, right, your heart is going to be acting out exactly what is going on in your dream. So let's say you're being chased by a monster. Now, your heart rate is going to be racing like you're being chased by a monster in your sleep, right? In your dream, right? Your body might be frozen, but your heart rate is going to reflect what's going on in your sleep. Now, think about this. If you spend your entire day, like I did, at 45, 44, if you spend your entire day just sitting around working on computers, eating whatever you want, right, and you never exercise, in other words, you do not have an exercised heart. Your heart is not used to going to 120, 130, 140 plus beats a minute. Right? Your heart is not used to being chased by a monster during the day, because there's no monsters around to chase you during the day. But you go to sleep that night, and for some reason something happens in your sleep. I mean, it could be something good that raises your heart rate, but it raises your heart rate. Suddenly, you who sit around all day and your resting heart rate might be 80. You never get it up over 100 beats a minute, 120 beats a minute, even if you're going up and down stairs. Right? In other words, your heart is not healthy. And you go to sleep that night, and you spend your entire day just sitting around, eating whatever you want, just your heart is not exercised. It's not used to being, woo, monster after me, right? 90,000 people every night die in their sleep. Now, I'm quite certain some are natural causes. attrition, old age. It happens. Hardening of the arteries, whatever. Natural causes. But I'm also firmly convinced, especially with the epidemic that's happening right now, and we do have an epidemic happening in America, around the world actually, but for some reason, once again, we lead the way here in America. We literally do. Out of 330 million Americans, over 200 million of us are either overweight or obese. That's the current statistic. 67%. 67% of America. That means look left, look right. You're looking, I had to look at myself in the mirror, and I recognized, on top of the fact that I was having all those weird symptoms for diabetes, type 2 diabetes, with the extreme thirst and constant having to use the restroom, and my vision actually improving so that my contacts and glasses, my prescription wasn't accurate. It's weird because you get that pressure. And that eventually turns into retinal neuropathy, where you can actually go blind. If you don't take care, if you get hit with type 2 diabetes and you don't take care of it, and remember, 30 million of us Americans are already diagnosed. I'm one. I'm a type 2 diabetic. 30 million of us are already diagnosed. We know we have it. 10 million of them are not doing anything about it. Can you imagine that? Think about that. You know that your body is getting ready to cut off feeling in your toes, make them numb, make them go to the point where they need to be removed. Feet, hands, toes. You can go blind if you do not treat this. This isn't something that you can just say, oh, it'll get better on its own. No, it won't. It'll only get worse. So you need to treat it. One of the best ways to treat pre-diabetes, and remember, 70 million Americans, right now, 70 million Americans have pre-diabetes. That means you're right on the verge of getting where I was in 2005, getting hit with type 2 diabetes, full-blown type 2 diabetes, the kind where it's the rest of your life diabetes. If you are pre-diabetic, I'll say it again, 10%. You take off 10% of your body weight, you will help yourself immensely, immensely. Your endocrine system, your pancreas will thank you. Just the amount of cholesterol building up inside your arterial walls will thank you for the exercise. One of the best ways you can fight arteriosclerosis is activity, movement. Get that heart pumping. The heart is a muscle. You need to work it. The human body has about 600 something muscles in it, just over. Every one of them needs to be worked. You don't work those muscles, they atrophy. It doesn't matter if they're internal muscles. The bicep, don't matter. Tricep, doesn't matter. Abs, don't matter. The muscle has to be exercised. All of them. But the first muscle you got to exercise is the one that doesn't have any muscle fibers. The one between your ears. That's the organ that you first need to work on. You get the brain going in your direction, then everything else can follow. For me, and I actually put this in, it's a chapter in the book, the advantages of being an optimist. And there really are advantages to being an optimist as opposed to a pessimist. Seriously, because as an optimist, and you're thinking things are going to turn out the right way, you are planning things are going to turn out the right way. The glass is half full, not half empty. So if you are always thinking in that positive manner, eventually things are going to go that direction. They have no choice. Being an optimist generally tends to push karma more your direction in the positive manner, especially if you are an individual like me who believes that things that you do are going to affect what happens to you in your life. If you're a good person and you do good things and you're nice to people, you try to help, and that's how most people are really, then yeah, the good is going to come back to you. Of course, we're all going to have setbacks. We've all had things. I've been divorced. We have things like that happen. But those are just bumps. Those are just pits and valleys along the way. Everybody has peaks and valleys. I mean, that's part of life. The objective is to remain in a balanced mode. So no matter what is happening to you, good, bad, or otherwise, your every single daily mode is balanced.
You can keep a happy, positive attitude. You can stay healthy, physically, mentally, spiritually, in all manners. Being an optimist helps lead you down that path. So I highly recommend it. The glass is half full. You say it to yourself constantly. The glass is half full. Setting small goals. Small things that you know that you can attain. Give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself a little reward. If you want to set these humongous out-of-reach goals, you're not going to attain them. All goals, in my opinion, and as a personal trainer and health coach, have to be smart. They've got to be specific. They've got to be measurable. They've got to be attainable. They have to be relevant, and they have to be time-bound. I'll say that again. If you're going to set a goal, let's just take an example. When I was 250 pounds, right, and my doctor said, you have type 2 diabetes. Your A1C is over the roof. Your blood sugars are out of control. You need to make changes. You've got to lose weight. You've got to get rid of the cigarettes. You've got to make changes. Otherwise, you're going to start losing fingers and toes and eventually your eyesight and your life. Diabetes is nothing to play around with. So, for me, it was a very sobering moment, to say the least, and scary as hell, to be perfectly honest, because you really don't know what to do at that point. It's not like your doctor says, well, you have prediabetes, which means you still have the opportunity not to get diabetes. But when you say, no, you have diabetes, then you have to face that. You've got to, right, what am I going to do about this? So for me, it was just a matter of falling back on my Marine Corps training. Having been through boot camp, I understand what it takes for me to get myself physically into shape. Losing the weight and getting physically into shape, that I did over time. That was not an overnight process. First, I had to take control of the diet, understanding that every 3,500 calories that I consume that I don't burn off is going to turn into a pound of fat. It'll somewhere. So every 3,500 calories that I burn takes off a pound of fat. So the only thing I could do at that point was, all right, I sat down with a nutritionist first, not long after I was diagnosed, and the nutritionist said, here is what you need on a daily basis, just to maintain weight. And as a diabetic, you need to eat less meat, and more vegetables, greens. If you look at my plate, the USDA, the new USDA guidelines are awesome on what's on my plate. Most of what you need to be eating needs to have color. Vegetables, fruits, greens, along those lines. Keep your meat, your saturated fats down low. A little bit of dairy, if, of course, you can tolerate. A little dairy is always good. But the objective, of course, is to keep the balance and to make certain that what you eat, the amount you eat, is going to determine if you're gaining weight or losing weight. The amount of activity that you put in is 25% of the process. 75% of the process is the diet. 25% of the process is the exercise. You can't ignore one or the other. You must do both. And if you're serious about losing weight, especially, and if you want to make sure that you maintain muscle, because that's something that once we hit our mid-30s and above, we literally start losing muscle mass. Once you get up into your 50s, like me, you can really start losing muscle mass. But you can counteract that. You do not have to lose muscle mass. I didn't even get serious with weights till I was 50. And I'm not saying I'm any Joe Weider or anything, but compared with where I was at 250 pounds and 205 pounds, then I don't think I'm doing too awful bad. 6 to 8% body fat, I'm not going to complain about that. The only thing I don't like, is the fact that, I don't have any baby face fat left, so all I got left are my wrinkles. What can I say? But I'd rather have wrinkles and be alive than have a baby face and be 6 feet under somewhere. Any questions, you guys? Come on, hit me up. I'm going to put my old man readers back on, see if you guys have any questions for me. I'd like to answer at least a couple before I get rolling, because I am actually going to be heading out here shortly. I'd like to go get some mileage done, y'all. Somebody, come on. Hey, whoever's watching who hasn't fanned me yet, please fan me. I'd really appreciate it. I'm trying to build up a base here. I am saving all of these to Tumblr, by the way. So you can go on Tumblr. You can also go on YouTube. I'm saving all of these, so if you want to go back and talk about them again, I'd appreciate it. All right, Mystic Wolf, what's your question? Let's see. Love questions. Any question. Come on, hit me. All right, I don't see it, Mystic Wolf. Hit it again. Put it up there again, and I will answer it immediately, if not sooner. Question is above. I don't see it. Tell me what your question is, repeat it, and I will answer it, I promise. And like I said, please fan me. I'm trying to build up a little base on here. And 2018, you guys, anybody that wants to quit smoking, I'm helping them do it for free. Free. That's what I said. Normally, as a personal trainer, I charge $25 an hour. As a health coach, I charge up to $50 an hour. But for anybody that wants to quit smoking, I will help them quit smoking for free. There's one thing I can guarantee you. You cannot get your health in order. You cannot even begin to get your health in order until you get rid of the cigarettes. And as a 31-year cigarette smoker, I know I did not do myself any favors on that. It takes about 7 to 10 years for your lungs to get back to the point where you were a non-smoker. So for me, I had my last cigarette July 15th, 2005. And yeah, I remember specifically the date. In fact, I can play the whole thing back in my head. I have that ability anyway. Now, again, I'm going to get rolling here shortly. I've been on a bit longer than I said I would. I actually do have to get my mileage done because I like to make sure that I stay as healthy as possible. It makes me feel good, and it makes my clients understand that for me, exercise and health is not just something that I'm talking about. It's something that I do. It's a lifestyle. It's the way I live. I've been doing this for 13 years now, and I only became an ACE certified personal trainer a few years ago. When I started this journey, I was still working in computers, although not sitting quite as much, to say the least. In fact, I was one of the guys who originally used boxes in my office to put my monitor and my keyboard and mouse up so I could stand up and work. Because I was having back issues at the time. For those of you that have read Pushing Double Nickels, the book I published in 2014, you already know. Because I put all the information about my weight loss, my back issues, my diabetes. I put it all in there because as far as I'm concerned, we're here to help each other. I will charge you as a personal trainer and health coach. I will charge you and help you make your health better. I will charge you and you will pay to lose weight. But my goal is eventually to make you your own personal trainer and make you your own health coach so that you don't need me, so that you can get up every day and go, hey, I know what I need to do to stay healthy, to get healthy, to be healthy. And that's the goal. If I can help people get from the point where I was at 250 pounds and 30-year smoker to the point where I'm now, or at least healthier, that's what my goal is. So 2018, everybody gets to quit smoking for free. There's 45 million Americans still smoking, and what really pains me is 1,700 teenagers every day are picking up the habit. Please. It's time. We need to get rid of the cigarettes once and for all, gang. And changing over to vapes is not the answer. That's still a nicotine habit. While you may not be getting the combustibles and the black tar effect of the cigarettes in your lungs, and I haven't had a case of bronchitis, since I quit smoking, just so you know, and I used to get it every year. But even changing over to a vape, you're still under a nicotine habit. But I will admit the vape is less harmful than inhaling the smoke itself. The smoke coming through that butt at 1,200 degrees, off that cherry is not going to do anybody any good. And the billions of butts that wind up on the ground every year and just look on the ground anywhere near you, you'll find them. Those aren't doing anybody any good either. Every single butt poisons 1 gallon to 2 gallons of water. Think about it. 5 trillion of them tossed on the ground every year globally. It's insane. And probably close to 2 trillion in the United States alone. It's crazy. So anyhow, We need to work on getting ourselves healthier. We need to work on getting our planet healthier. And in this current political climate, I think we need to work on getting just our general attitudes healthier across the board. It doesn't matter what your faith is, what your organization is, what your skin color is, where you're from, what you do. We're all human. So let's stick it out together. And everybody support everybody. Anybody have any questions before I get rolling? Hit me up. I am going to get on my way. I got to get out the door and get my exercise done. Love sitting here talking to you guys, but one of us has to get out and get exercise done, and that's me. All right, last one. All right, Mystic Wolf, I still don't see that question. I'm looking for it. Where is it? You have a question for me? Hit me. And this is the last chance, you guys. I'm going to hit you up one more time with the challenge of the day. Question of the day, I should say. For anybody that wants to get a copy of the book, I'll sign it, I'll personalize it, put your name in it, to my friend so-and-so, whatever you want me to write, and I'll put it in the mail and get it out to you. You just need to get my question right. Answer the question right. What emotion do humans have that dogs don't have? Come on, anybody. Have a guess. Hit me up on that one. I really want to know if anybody has come to the same conclusion that I have. And mine is based on the last 5 years of research into animal emotions. So I have a solid opinion on what emotion we have as humans that animals do not share with us. It's one emotion, and I'm quite convinced of this. So somebody guesses here, then they win automatically. I will check my email, and the first person who gets it right and emails me, they'll get a copy of the book. So, pushingdoublenickels@yahoo.com. That's the email. You can also hit me up on any of my social media links. Funny, though, they don't have LinkedIn on this site. You would think they would have a LinkedIn connection on this site. You can go hit me up on LinkedIn as well under Brad Fischel, or just send me an email. Anyhow, I appreciate you guys taking the time today. If anybody has any questions that they would like to hit me up with tomorrow, I will be back online here tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock Pacific. And I'm off and running. I think I got a call coming in now. Could be a client. You guys have yourselves a great day. I will look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow.